Hi guys, welcome back to Mama SOJ vlog. How you guys doing? If you are new here, you are welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, God bless you. As you always come back to watch my video, my people no be smart, you know. And I know some different news now they land for my table, and as the news they come, that's why they carry a call you to come share with her. My people, for today's video, I'm going to watch and together with her. All right, my people, we could go watch the video to see what really the apple for inside the video. My people,
with a house that was largely intact, even though they had their own differences too. And if you look at the overall vote cast, the fact that Asiwaju emerged the winner does not actually mean that the APC won the election. What I'm trying to say is simple. Whereas Asiwaju emerged as the winner of the election, but because he scored a minority vote of the total vote cast, which is something that's happened for the first time since 1999, it meant that the APC as a party lost Nigeria because he secured barely just a little over 1/3 of the total vote cast. And he also just secured victory in about 12 states, alongside Atiku Abubakar and P2B, who similarly secured victory in 11 states plus the FCT, making it 12. So it was a tight race that clearly showed that the wishes of the Nigerian people actually prevailed, in that they rejected the APC, clearly. They rejected the APC, but unfortunately, the opposition didn't provide a formidable force and a united front into this election. And so the Nigerian people had three choices to pick from, and so they divided their votes among these three. I know that there are disputes about the numbers, even despite the geopolitical distribution of these votes. The numbers are being disputed, whether the numbers add up or not. Well, that will be for the courts to decide. But the politics of the election, if you look at it critically, there are lots of wins for the Nigerian people. For example, you saw a third force movement that was predicted ahead of time. Now, they were going to be the third force. They're going to be the force to watch out for, the obedient movement. They lined up behind the candidate of the Labour Party from across the country, from all ethnic groups, from all religious groupings. They lined up behind the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. P2B, and they pulled impressive numbers and caused major upsets across the country. Upsets that are substantial enough to put the establishment on notice that Nigerians are no longer ready for their underperformance and misrule that has characterized our democracy since 1999. So that was another win for the Nigerian people. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, Asiwaju was actually programmed to lose this election because he came into the election with an overburden of incumbency disadvantage arising from the underperformance of the APC in the last 8 years. However, the PDP was not able to maximize this disadvantage into an electoral advantage for it by putting its house in order ahead of the election so that a Peter Obi and the Kwankwaso would not have left the party, and such that they would have worked together for the victory of the party. So if the house was intact, the PDP would have won this election. But going into the election with about 3 candidates and expecting to win is a bit too optimistic. And again, the numbers may not add up, I do not know, but the courts will now decide that. But realistically speaking, I think that the election results reflect the dynamics on the ground. If you look at the places, for example, that the Labour candidates won, these were places he was expected to win. He won in Lagos, he won in Abuja. These are some of the urban areas where the anti-establishment forces were most, dominant, expectedly. And he won in the southeast region where he comes from decisively, and he made certain inroads into the north, particularly the middle belt area of the north. It was expected, for example, that Asiwaju would make an impressive showing in the southwest region, which he did. And because of the effort of his allies in the north, particularly in the northwest, we saw the effort they made to actually pull some numbers for him, which actually made the difference. Mr. P2B, for example, was not exactly expected to do as well as any of the other candidates in the northwest and parts of the northeast, and expectedly he didn't do that well. But at the same time, the numbers are being disputed. So the court will now decide with the evidence that the different contenders and those disputing the results will present at the court. If they present numbers that actually show indeed that the numbers didn't add up despite the realistic distribution of the votes, then of course the court should do the needful. But until the court decides that, from a realistic point of view, I think it was a fair reflection. And if you ask me, the biggest winners in this election are the obedience. And Mr. P2B indeed is the hero of this election, as pointed out by Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. I think he lived up to expectations and even surpassed some expectations. And I think that the obedient movement in this election are the MVPs, if you ask me. They have redefined Nigerian politics. They have restored the people as the structure and not a few self-appointed political potentates. that call the shots from some narrow confines of their bedroom. So I think somewhat there was a democratic revolution that took place, and it was a win-win-win situation for the entire Nigerian people. The resilience of the Nigerian people actually allowed substantially, if you ask me, the defects of some of the anomalies that the election actually threw up. So the resilience of the people allowed those defects and converted them to some advantages. So it was an impressive outing for Nigerian people, despite the shortcomings by the electoral umpire, security agencies, and some other critical stakeholders.
So you're saying that you think it was a fair election. I asked you earlier, what do you make of Atiku's petition? He's not the only one who has petitioned. Also, the Labour Party, Peter Obi, who you've just mentioned as the hero of the election, also sent in a petition. And I'll also like your assessment of Festus Keyamo's call to the DSS for the arrest of Peter Obi, for making Peter Obi and the Labour Party, especially Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, for making insightful comments.
Again, let me restate it clearly. While I do not have the numbers at my disposal, I mean, the candidates with their agents may have the numbers, because I understand that the Labour Party people are saying that, look, yes, we have won in our stronghold, but the numbers are suppressed, and we think we won with much more numbers. So if they have such evidence, the courts are open for them to take them to, and people will look at it. Even the public will see it, and I'm sure there will be public pressure on the judiciary to do the needful, to do justice in this instance. But other than that, I still think that, given the geopolitical distribution of the votes, I think the outcome, the process might be flawed, but the outcome at the end of the day, because of the resilience of the Nigerian people, I think reflected some of the realities on the ground. And so the PDP expecting to win this election is a bit too optimistic, if you ask me, because they went through the election with a divided house, with the house that was divided against itself. So expecting to win against the APC that was largely intact, despite their own internal wranglings, was a little bit too optimistic, if you ask me. Now, coming to the issue of Mr. Festus Keyamo, I think that at this time, members of the ruling party should actually be calling for peace, suing for reconciliation, and tone down the rhetoric, because elections are over. They are going to lead the next government. And it is expected of them to, at this time, be statesmanly in everything they do and seek reconciliation and seek to embrace the opposition so that they will have, a stronger legitimacy to govern the country, given the fact that they won with a narrow number that was like a minority of the total vote count, something that was the first time we are seeing such kind of winning since 1999. Although that does not make the winning illegitimate in itself, but the reality on the ground is that it was a narrow victory for the APC. And so more than any other person, I expect Festus Keyamo and other spokespersons of the ruling party to be conciliatory in their tone, to be reconciliatory, and expect the president-elect to reach out to his co-contenders for the presidency. He should reach out to Ali Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, he should reach out to Mr. Peter of the Labour Party, he should reach out to Kwankwaso and all others, and seek their support in order to show up the legitimacy of his mandate that is already legitimate, because it has been duly declared winner by the constituted authority in the land. However, he needs to do more to confer more political legitimacy on his mandate. And the kind of rhetoric we see from some of his spokespersons are not the kind of things that will endear him to the Nigerian people and to his opponents, because a situation where nearly 2/3 of the voters voted against you means one thing. It means you are not coronated as an emperor. You are a reluctantly hired workman that is still on probation, and so you need to prove your mettle, you need to prove your capacity through good governance for them to now begin to have full confidence in you. And I do not seek a destabilization of his administration. I do not see any form of political instability. So it is in his own interest to rein in his spokespersons. It is in his own interest to put that call across to his opponents. This is not an election where he would expect them to come.
Right.
He should put the call across, because INEC's underperformance in this election.
All right.
Left a lot of
on
doubt
that note, unfortunately, we don't have much time on this segment for you.
My people, now the video now on a new watch for this, so on a see what happen for inside the video. All right, my people, I go like to end the video for you. Make una let me know wetin una think for the comment section. And if una never subscribe, make una subscribe to my YouTube channel so that una no go miss any latest gist wey I dey upload. And those of una wey be say una never follow my Facebook page, make una follow so that una no go still miss any latest gist wey I dey upload. And bye bye till I come on our next time. Bye guys, see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.